to tell me about these sand lords because I've never heard of them before. And my guide said they are on the evil side. And when they had the wars in Egypt and in the erection of the pyramids, as I talked in the last session, that Prometheus, Homius, was a strong leader that helped in the battles, and they were battling sand lords. And so I'm going to actually talk about the sand lords. They are not human. They are not insectoid. They are a totally alien breed that came down upon the earth. So when I was asking in that other session if we were battling the reptilians, I didn't know who we were battling. Well, I guess we were battling a species called the sand lords, where they can thrive in the sand in the desert. But I also have understood that Egypt was more of a lush, beautiful population at that time. But there was more desert, like Iraq, Iran, and the Saudi Arabia area. I think this battle was all in the Middle East. All in the Middle East. Seems like it's a very prominent place of history. And I know if we could do digs and agriculture there, we're going to find so much. And we will even find the bones of these sand lords, because they're a type of species that is crazy looking. They have a human body. They have 3 fingers that are almost like claw-like, long claw, 3 fingers. They also have like 3 hooved toes with big claws on them, and those claws are made to help in battle. My understanding, they can kind of roll, and they can use their feet and their hands as part of the weapons. They also have, they can spew. Their faces are alien faces. And actually, I think when I did a water scrying, I think I captured one of these sand lords. They're the color of sand, so they're very hard to see. All their clothing and everything is sand color, if they do wear clothing at all. I think their commanders and leaders have a type of garb they put on, and everything's just bland, like sand. They have a big head, and there's no hair, and their face is kind of a big and square with these things that hang off their skin. They have things that hang off their skin, almost like a little tentacle all over their face. I'm not, it has a meaning, I'm not sure what it's for. Their mouths are square, and they have very sharp, fangy teeth in their mouth. Their eyes are very small and round. They're almost like a dog eye, where it doesn't have the white pupil, it's just, and they're black. Their eyes are black. Black or tan. Black or tan. Oh, they put a lens over their eye. For them to come down upon the earth, they have to put these lenses over their eye. Their eyes are actually the same color as their skin, but they have to have a lens to be upon this earth. They're able to breathe upon this earth. They're not AI. They're a flesh and blood type of creature. I heard their blood is kind of a greenish gray. And they're flesh eaters. So they'll eat animal, and they'll eat human. If they capture human, they eat them. They eat them. Ew. So they're really creepy, and I hear they smell really bad. And so that's how you can detect them coming up on you, is the smell. They have a rotten odor smell to them. Like just rotting flesh, I heard. So they are actually, Their leaders are highly intelligent also in battle. What they wanted to do is to be able to control the earth. They wanted their worlds have been diminishing, and their worlds have been being taken over, and so it's forcing this species to be on ships more and more. And so they travel from planetary systems to planetary systems to find a planet that they can thrive and live on. And they don't have a language. They grunt and snort and make all sorts of weird, gross noises. I don't know. I think they're telepathic, how they speak. Or they do have a language. Hold on. It's a really garbled language. Really deep-throated, garbled language. They're about 7 feet tall, so they're very tall. And they're kind of, I don't even know how to describe them. They do have a type of reptilian look to their skin, but it's tan. They are kind of scaly, like a reptilian, but they're not a reptilian. They're called sand lords. That's what they call them, is sand lords. They call them the sand lords. It's a name that they received because of their heightened awareness of battle, and they're able to battle during great storms of the sand, storms that Egypt would have, which actually was to their benefit because they actually can see objects through the sand because they look for the energy. They're able to see the energy of a human or of another alien that they're fighting against, sovereign being. Which Prometheus was very aware of these sand lords. Somehow he infiltrated their intelligence. He knew something about Prometheus, Homius, is that he knew everything about every species. He had a brain that didn't quit, and he was able to process quickly every species. So what he did, this Prometheus, who was human form, he would think like they would think and strategize like they would strategize, and that's how he figured out what they were going to do. That's what made him a win-win situation, because he put himself in their thought process. He was able to do that on almost every species. Excuse me. The Sand Lords are something that he really knew a lot about, he said. Is he talking to me? Hold on. So the Sand Lords were actually pretty frightful, he said. I guess Prometheus is coming to me. He said that they had to be very clever, and everything had to be very precise in fighting them, because when the sands did come, it did shut down the human race, because they could not see, they could not withstand these sandstorms. But this was some sort of strategic plot on the Sand Lords, that they were able to create these sandstorms so they could go in and wipe out a whole sector of warriors and fighters. So it was to their benefit, not to the humans. The humans fell in that area. So that's where Prometheus had to come into play. And sometimes he would go up on the ships and get AI intelligence, or not artificial intelligence, get intelligence on how to, where they were and the strategy. And he would, I guess on the ships, they would be able to track these Sand Lords and then he would have to give the intelligence back to the troops that were on the ground. So these Sand Lords were looking for their own Earth to occupy. So when this Earth came up for grabs, I guess it came up for grabs. It was for the fittest. And so that meant whoever won the fighting on this Earth would be the whole history of the Earth. So I guess God develops systems and Earths, and he has a plan for them, but there's free will, and he has to bind himself by his own laws. And so there is a time and a season that the Earth is up for grabs, and whoever is the fittest and whoever wins through these seasons, the Earth will evolve with that group. If the Sand Lords had won and seized the Earth from the sovereign beings, then there would be continuous wars upon this Earth, because other beings would be able to cross and come down and fight to take over the Earth, which had happened to the Sand Lords in their own Earth. Because they don't have the sovereign strength, they don't have the deems of God's law, so it's open season for the Sand Lords, and so the reptilians, any of the dark side, could come down and take over their lands and their worlds, which has happened to them. They have become almost extinct due to this, and in captivity, because they are great slave. Because of their strength, they are great for slave trade and for building structures because of their immense strength. So Prometheus said that's all he wanted to share, is to tell us that that's because he did not give me that information yesterday, and so he wanted to let me know who he was fighting. But there's more, and I guess I will receive more intel later. I'm going to do one channeling a day on Patreon, and so today was about the Sand Lords, and so he wanted to let us be familiar with this. He's calling them a creed, and that they have almost gone extinct through the years because they were never able to find a planet and reproduce. And so that was key for the dark side, to keep them separate so they could not reproduce, so their breed would die out. They keep just enough of them alive just in case they do need to breed them and for fighting capabilities. But they're too hard to control. The dark side doesn't like to put up with them because they can't control them. For some reason, they can't get in there and manipulate their mind. So they're a species that the dark side and the sovereign beings would rather have extinct at this time. So they may go extinct. Okay. Okay, I'm out. Peace out. Have a good night. I will talk to you tomorrow.